I'm gonna, yeah, today's my birthday. December 22nd.
My dad's birthday.
Okay, so happy birthday. Let me just get my mic right. All right. Okay,
let's
so
all sing happy birthday before she gets started.
That's right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan. Happy birthday to you.
all right, so I'm going to be talking about the significance of the Mayan calendar, which there is a lot of confusion on. All over the news yesterday, you probably heard, oh look, we're still here, right? So everybody's having all these end of the world parties and they don't understand one iota of what this is about. And in order, I could just jump to the chase and tell you the ending, but I want to kind of give you the real story of the universe. This could take a little while. No, I've really edited it down to the key points. No, but seriously, if you really can follow along, it's a very interesting story. And it does tie all the, even the Bible and things, and makes sense in a very scientific way. And if any of you are physics-minded, you'll appreciate this in biology. All right, so what they did is they started calling things the New Age like 20 years ago or so, and then that got a really bad name, and they said, well, maybe we should change that because it's getting a bad name. But then they were told, no, leave it New Age because this really is a New Age. An age is something that comprises 2,000 years. The last age was the Piscean age. That was when Jesus entered the earth, and that's why the symbol of Jesus is a fish for Pisces. This age we're entering now, which is 2,000 years long as well, is the age of Aquarius.
All right.
Anyone know?
Aquarius, the age of Aquarius.
And that was sung all right, you got me. No, that was sung by
Fifth Dimension.
Fifth Dimension. Okay, so they were really advanced. They knew what song to sing and they knew what to call themselves. All right, everyone's good. I thought you were saying you couldn't hear. Okay, so let me just, hopefully you can follow us along. Like I said, I really broke it down into really easy terms, but I'll get to this ending, which we're in the middle of. It didn't end yesterday, it started yesterday. And what we're in the middle of is 3 days of this. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Oh.
So, and today's the peak, by the way. Today's the peak. So all right,
We're
so
all together for the peak. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, we are.
the 22nd. All right, so this is a little speech entitled, What on Earth is Going On? The New Age is nothing more than a span of time. It is not a movement or a philosophy. Okay, and now this is where it's going to get really heavy. Okay, because a lot of you only think of our solar system as, the 8 or 9 planets revolving around our little sun. And our little sun is just one little sun in a universe of many, many millions of suns. And what a lot of people don't realize is that our entire solar system is actually orbiting in a much larger orbit around a distant sun called Alcyone. And if I'm not pronouncing that right, does anybody know A-L-Y-C-O-N-E?
I think it's Alcyone.
Okay, Alcyone. So has anyone ever heard of the Pleiades?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's a constellation you can clearly see with the naked eye. It looks like a little kite up
The
there.
Seven
It's very
Sisters.
cute little diamond shape with a little tail. That is actually the center of our galaxy. And in the center of the Pleiades is their sun, the brightest star that we can see also is the Alcyone sun. I'm going to say Alcyone. I feel like I'm Italian. Okay, so the I don't know, it does have an E on the end. Alcyone sun. And that is dead center in the center of this galaxy that our solar system is spinning around. We spin around that sun. It takes us 26,000 years to go around that sun. And in that time, there's actually two sides of that. There's an 11,000 year side, then we take this 2,000 year clip into something I'm going to talk about later, and then we come back out for 11,000 years, and we clip into that section again for 2,000 years. So that's the 26,000 years. As we enter one, like right now we're in that little clip section, which I'm going to address by title in a little bit. That's like the age of the light. That's the light, those 2,000 year clips, which are on either side. It's because the thing that's orbiting Alcyone and the Pleiades is a donut-shaped beam of photons, which I don't want to get into too much right now. But when you're in those are the, photons are particles of light. And when we rotate out of that, we start going back into the darkness. So when we leave the 2,000 years, which actually, we're on a whole new level now. We're actually not going to be cyclical anymore like this. But let me just get to the story again. But I just want you to know that about our solar system. We have that central sun, and they actually say that our sun is the eighth planet in their orbit. We're like on the 8th ring of their orbit. There's 7 planets before us. And some of the planets they say are in our orbit aren't actually in our orbit either. They're cycling somebody else's sun, but we see them. So anyway, at the present time, as I said, we're ending this 2,000 year cycle. And what the Mayan calendar has to do with is this completion of this it's really 24,000 years at this point, because we're going to go through it for 2,000, that'll be the 26. What they saw was the time span it would take for us to come back around to the point that we're at right now, which started yesterday. And each 2,000 year cycle, by the way, has its own force field. And each force field creates a major shift of energy, and a major shift of vibration, and a major shift of consciousness on Earth. Because we were coming from the darkness, as I said, we left the light, we went into darkness. That's when you see some civilizations that actually got less intelligent, and then there's civilizations that grew and got more intelligent, like we are, like how fast, in the last 100 years we've advanced technologically, by leaps and bounds. That's because we're approaching this photon belt. Okay, there, I said it. But I'm going to talk more about it later. And Jesus knew when he was here 2,000 years ago that he was paving the way for our return to what this is actually a Christ consciousness level once we hit this photon belt. And our eternal ascension into the light, which is also what is called the rapture in different religions. And he also knew that it would be a while before we'd be ready for this, because you actually have to prepare for this. In the past, when we've cycled into this photon belt, there's actually a null zone that surrounds it. The null zone is similar to how in our atmosphere, when a space shuttle is coming to Earth, for temporarily, it could break apart, and there's a lot of friction. It causes a lot of heat, a lot of damage if the spaceships aren't properly insulated or the materials are weak. The same thing happens to us and to our planet. If we're not ready for this leap in vibration and frequency, that is what we needed to prepare for. That is what we've been working on for longer than 2,000 years. That's how, remember, this is the story of the universe. So we're at a really grand point to have been telling you the history and to where we are at this moment, that everybody's here on planet Earth today, and in this time. This is what they're calling as the dawn of the permanent golden age. It was, okay, now I'm going to use some terms like godparents. Instead of the word God, the proper use is Father, Mother, God, because, and I'm going to use some Native American terms as well. But, I'm going to call it godparents, so I don't have to keep saying Father, Mother, God. It was never the intent of our godparents that we use our free will that we originally were here on Earth with to distort the unformed primal light substance pouring forth from the core of creation into the gross mutations of disease, aging, death, poverty, lack, limitation, hate, war, corruption, crime, plagues, pestilence, famines, earthquakes, adverse weather conditions, inhumanity to each other, abuse of the animal and nature kingdoms, and all of the other maladies that are classified under the lone label that represents the inversion of the word live, which is evil. Or lived, which is devil. So those are inversions that were never intended. The use of free will was intended that we would create whatever we wanted. That was our free will, but it wasn't to go into this darkness. So God would not give one electron of precious life energy to sustain this dimension of chaos. Therefore, the only way these fallen humans, elementals and angels, could survive was by parasitically living off of other negative energy, because he would not support them with the natural ways of energy. They have to live off of our own drama. You know, if you're angry, if you're arguing, if you're fighting, they love that. They need that to feed on. They can't get it from above. They have to get it from below. So keep that in mind. In our particular universe, there are 12 central suns in our system of worlds. Each of these central suns has 12 physical suns that they're responsible for, and each physical sun has 12 planets. Several of the planets that our astronomers think are rotating around our physical sun, as I said, are not at all. They are on the fourth spiral out from their suns, so we can see them more clearly, but in fact we are merely observing an optical illusion. And we are not actually the third rock from the sun. So as I said, it was never the intent of our Father, Mother, God that we use our free will to create any pattern of discord or inharmony in order to prevent us from ever having to experience such gross mutations of our gift of life. God gave us one commandment. He said, do not partake of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That was the only commandment he ever said in our gift of free will. There's a force, we'll call it cosmic evil. Cosmic evil was desperately trying to find souls whom it could manipulate into releasing negative thought and feeling patterns that would feed it and keep it alive. Since the 49 planets in our galaxy that were participating in this experiment of being in the third dimension were vibrating at an unusually dense frequency, we in the third dimension are very dense. We are vibrating very densely. If you know anything about physics, you know, this table appears solid, but in fact, they've proven it's just space. But because it's vibrating so slowly, you know, we can actually touch it. But if things start vibrating high enough, they become invisible to anyone at the lower frequencies. Does everyone know that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
that's pretty much common knowledge now. So since the 49 planets in our galaxy were participating at such a dense frequency, we were much more vulnerable to cosmic evil, and it was much easier for the force of cosmic evil to access our consciousness. And this is talking about us as a galaxy. This negative force, in its cunning and deceptive ways, projected thought patterns into the consciousness of souls evolving on all 49 planets, and tried to confuse and tempt us into experimenting with our gift of life by creating thought patterns and feelings that were not in alignment with God's will in the realms of perfection. So cosmic evil actually taught and trapped souls to be black magicians, and they learned how to manipulate energy to control others and perpetuate evil for their personal gain. As our Father, Mother, God observed the plight of our galaxy, they determined that the experiment was failing and issued a divine fiat to breathe the 7 suns and 49 planets back into the 4th dimension. In the 3rd dimension, in other words, we're vulnerable to cosmic evil. In the 4th dimension, they can't touch us. So at the time, the Earth had seemed invincible, and even though other planets in the experiment were being overwhelmed with the influence of cosmic evil, the Earth remained pristine and perfect and free from any trace of negativity. the Earth was the only planet not being affected by cosmic